Hey guys, it's time for part 3. Things from now are changed on the channel. I'm trying to completely transform my channel, bringing you all better quality content. Usually, as much I have noticed, my visuals on my videos and my voice aren't much impressive. But something impressive on my channel is the quality of interpretation of a common story we all know in one way or the other. So from now on, weekly, I would be uploading videos and I would fix a day. And for now, the major focus is on my anime rewrite. If you want any other video, then comment it down. I would tell you clearly if I can make it or not. Coming to the topic, to make things simple, I have added time codes based on 6 units I have made. So the thing is, it was very complicated. So I divided this part into 6 basic units based on the episodes and the writing I have done, and I have uploaded time codes for them. I know these updates and all are boring in the intro, but please do listen to them. Check the description, join the Discord. If you like today's part, like, share, and subscribe for the sake of YouTube algorithm. In reality, guys, I'm making these videos going against the odds in real life, and no matter what, I'll continue. All I need you to do is support. Thanks for listening to me and enjoy the video. Also, I would like to mention, if you have any suggestions for future parts, join the Discord and tell me what you have in there. I'm very active over there. Last time we left at Ash's victory over Lieutenant Search, winning him the Thunder Badge. And today Ash and gang win a ticket to take a trip on the luxury cruise ship Saint Anne. This Saint Anne, or whatever you like to call it, would take them to the summer end festival. It's according to the timeline of the anime. The gang enters the ship and it's totally amazing. Ash and gang enjoy the journey, especially Ash, since the whole ship is filled with trainers. From morning to late afternoon, Ash defeats a total of 23 trainers in continuous battles. Then Ash is challenged by a gentleman who has a Nidoking, whereas Ash picks Butterfree for the battle. Just when we are thinking that Ash has maintained a quite of a winning streak, we get to know that this Nidoking has already squashed more than 50 opponents. So when Butterfree defeats it, everybody is shocked, and then everyone starts appreciating Ash for his great victory over the gentleman. Until a voice hits, Ash is a loser. Ash turns and sees it's Gary Oak. Gary Oak then says Ash is a failure, and Gary will prove it by beating Ash. Ash sends in Charmander, and Gary uses Squirtle. Ash is then suggested by Brock to substitute, but their conversation is interrupted by Gary, who announces he can beat Charmander even without using a water type attack. Ash, thinking to himself that Gary is an overconfident, sticks with Charmander. But to his shock, Charmander is sent crashing down by a rapid spin of Gary's Squirtle. Just one rapid spin and Squirtle has already squashed Charmander. Yet, when Ash is in complete shock after the loss, the gentleman proposes the trade of Nidoking for Butterfree. Under pressure of a mesmerized Brock, Ash even trades his Butterfree for the Nidoking, feeling that everything is wrong if he isn't with his Pokemon, and remembering his responsibilities as a trader and love for Butterfree, Ash feels guilty after the trade and gets his Butterfree back from the gentleman. However, the whole cruise is a scheme devised by Team Rocket. who plans to steal all the Pokemon of the trainers on board. During this confusion, James purchases a Magikarp from a devious salesman under the impression it would make him rich after this operation is complete, unaware of Magikarp's true nature and its uselessness. After Team Rocket's plans fail, the Saint Anne is hit by a powerful storm. Ash loses his Butterfree's Pokeball in the confusion and goes to get it, just as James tries to retrieve Magikarp's Pokeball, and both the groups are knocked unconscious while the rest of the passengers escape the cruise safely. Ash, Misty, Brock, and Pikachu wake up abroad St. Anne, discovering it has capsized and sunk below the water. Elsewhere, Jesse, James, and Meowth wake up as well, and in an attempt to escape through the flood area that they are in, Ash and Team Rocket decide to collab and get out of the place together. After traversing the ship, they find a weak part of the hull from to escape from. Using Misty and Ash's water type Pokemon, they escape and make it out to a raft on the top of the sea. After making it to the surface on some debris, the group discovers Team Rocket once more, and after they are stranded on the raft, they decide to eat Magikarp suck, for the sake of hunger, only discovering it has no meat on it. In anger, James kicks Magikarp off the raft and it evolves into Gyarados. This currently released Gyarados is then faced by Misty, who tries to capitalize it by capturing. Misty uses its Starmie, and Starmie, after two thunderbolts, takes down Gyarados, only for Misty to capture it. The whole Team Rocket is shocked how Misty performed and captured such a strong mon when they almost had it in their hands for few seconds ago. This shows how much capable Misty is. But to everyone's bad luck, a storm arises again. Wi- and within this storm, the group is separated and thrown away onto an island. But the humans are separated from their Pokemon on that island, which is inhabited by giant Pokemon. Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Meowth, Ekans, and Koffing try to make their way back to their trainers, while the trainers and their Pokemon escape the giant Pokemon, unaware that they have all landed on an island owned by the Team Rocket to house a theme park dedicated to these giant robotic Pokemon. They aren't real. Alright, so there's a lot I'm gonna speak now. So if I mess up in between, sorry. Instead of Tentacool and Tentacruel episode, we would be continuing with the Ghosts of Maiden Peaks episode. The cruise the cruise the gang took was actually to this place, this part of the Maiden's Peak, to attend the summer end festival. So coming to my part, Professor Oak and Ash's mom will also be here for the festival to join the gang. Along with the celebration, there's a small tournament also held here, which is eventually won by Ash when his Cubone takes out its evolved form Marowak after a tough battle. Gary is also watching Ash's victory, but he didn't compete, thinking it's for kids, aka small or less skilled trainers like Ash. But Ash's Cubone got emotional after the end of the battle, watching a Marowak faint in front of its eyes, reminding him of his mom. When the situation seems out of the control, as Cubone is continuously crying, Ash's mom comes in and takes its custody. Ash decides to leave Cubone with his mom, since it would help Cubone to get out through the pain he's suffering due to its tragic past, and finally become normal while spending some time with his mom. This was all for the first episode, and let's begin with the second one. So in the second episode, Brock and James both fall for a beautiful girl standing by the sea who disappears continuously, only for Ash, Misty, and the Team Rocket to learn that she is the ghost of the maiden who awaited for her lover to return from an ancient war e- and eventually turning into stone. While trying to protect Brock and James with some weird stickers brought from a weird old woman, the maiden reveals herself to be a Ghastly, a ghost Pokemon. Ash tries to fight Ghastly and release James and Brock from its spell but fails badly until the sun rises and Ghastly is forced to disappear. Hereby it is revealed that the ghost of Maiden actually exists and is a friend of Ghastly and still is waiting for the one she loves to return. Now, you might be wondering why I included a filler in this series when usually people don't like it. The reason being the inclusion of Cubone's emotion, Professor Oak and Delia's appearance to increase the comedy in the episode's ghost part. It would be real fun if we had this in the original anime, along with Gary and all. Time to get emotional, guys. It's bye bye Butterfree. As the group continues on their way to Saffron City, they notice a flock of butterfly over the ocean. Brock informs Ash that it is the mating season for all of the butterflies around the world. Realizing the importance of the event in the lives of Butterfree, Ash decides to release his own butterfly so it can mate and start its own family. But there, Ash's butterfly falls for a pink butterfly and tries to impress it with all efforts, only to receive a sad rejection even after the help of the group to impress her, using ribbon, the special traditional butterfly dance, and all. However, Team Rocket has other plans. Team Rocket enters the picture and has plans to steal them all and use them as an army for future. Ash's Butterfree bravely frees all the Butterfrees from Team Rocket's camp, also heavily impressing the Pink Butterfree. So, due to the actions of Ash's Butterfree, Pink Butterfree too falls in love with him. In the end, it's time for Ash to say goodbye to his first ever Pokemon friend he actually caught. The first one who to accompany Ash and Pikachu and went through a lots of tough situations with him, but now Ash has to let him go for the glorious purpose of all Butterfly's life, and one day they'll meet again. Alright, the Butterfly is gone. Now it's time for Abra and the Psychic Showdown. Ash and his friend finally arrive in the Saffron City, but is warned by a strange man not to go into the gym. Ash challenges Sabrina to an official battle anyways. The battle begins as one on one. Ash starts off with Pikachu, whereas Sabrina chooses Abra. Abra, however, evolves just as it enters after one teleport into Kadabra at the beginning itself, frightening Ash and his friends. Pikachu tries to hit a Thunderbolt, but it hits itself due to Psychic. Before Ash could show his presence of mind and create some Ash type of strategies, Pikachu is sent to sleep by hypnosis, followed by a Dream Eater to declare the winner. It's Kadabra. Now Ash is lost to Saffron City gym leader brutally, but this time Ash and friends are not tran- are not trapped in a doll box and they are not toys anymore. It's serious for now. This time they are straight away transported out. The group is then guided by the same strange man who appeared in the beginning, who gives Ash a tip. He may be able to beat Sabrina with a ghost Pokemon from the Lavender Town. Even though it makes sense, the gang is scared of ghost Pokemon due to what happened back against Ghastly in the Maiden's Peak back in the summer and festival. That was one of the major reasons I included the summer in festival. Now it's time for my episode, The Rocky Tunnel. After spending the day following the loss, the gang take halt at the Pokemon Center of Saffron City, debating about what to do next against Brock and Misty. Ash determines he's leaving Saffron City for the Lavender Town, since he's the one who wants to be the Pokemon Master, and he will go and capture a ghost type and finally defeat Sabrina. Thinking over again, even though they are still scared, Brock and Misty decide they would accompany Ash, but till Lavender Town only, since the ghosts are in the Pokemon Tower of the Lavender Town. They can wait at the Lavender Town's Pokemon Center while Ash returns capturing a ghost type Pokemon for himself. They are convinced to leave next morning since it is already evening, and Nurse Joy tells them to go through the rock tunnel with so using rock tunnel they would reach Lavender Town within few hours instead of a day. Next morning they leave Pokemon Center and start crossing the tunnel. Brock uses his Zubat and Misty uses her Starmie. Zubat because it's habitual of caves, and Starmie as it uses Flash to travel into the ways found by Zubat. On the way some wild Pokemon attack them. While getting through these wild Pokemon, Brock captures a Rhyhorn for himself, and after battling Rhyhorn, his Zubat evolves into a Golbat, and they all get out of the tunnel to finally reach Lavender Town. This tunnel was damn lucky for Brock. He's now got a Golbat and a Rhyhorn on his team. Now it's the Tower of Terror. Since they have finally reached Lavender Town and it's already eve, Brock and Misty go towards the Pokemon Center along with their bag and all stuff of Ash except his Pokeballs, while Ash leaves for the Pokemon Tower along with Pikachu. Ash and Pikachu enter alone, and they are victims of pranks by the trio of Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, looking for playmates to play around them. After crushing them, Haunter turns Ash and Pikachu into ghosts, where they have some fun around. Though Ash asks them to send him back after seeing Brock and Misty arrive and cry over his body, and he can't see his friends being tensed for no reason. So Ash and Pikachu are brought back to their life, and Haunter decides to join Ash's team as his new Pokemon. Simple and plain. Ash and friends are back at Saffron City, ready for another trial at Sabrina's gym for Marsh Batch. But before that, Ash goes on for some training sessions with Haunter, exploring its moveset and vulnerability due to its second type being poison. Against a psychic type gym leader like Sabrina and its Pokemon like Kadabra, it might be a risk to take Haunter in with its poison typing, but that's all Ash can do for now. During the training, Ash Haunter mostly competes against Brock's Geodude since Geodude is quite tough. But within the training, Geodude evolves into Graveler as well. So Brock is having a great time right now. After all this stuff is done properly, Ash once again challenges Sabrina. This time, Ash wins properly using Haunter. After the battle, the mysterious trainer or the guide is revealed to be Dr. Fuji or Mr. Fuji, one of the notable people in the Kanto. Also, Sabrina proposes trade for evolution of Kadabra and Haunter. Ash questions Haunter regarding this, to which Haunter actually agrees graciously. Brock questions Sabrina why she's trading only with Ash, to which Sabrina replies not only to Ash, but she wants to she wants both the parties of the trade to gain. So that would make the trade sense senseful, since if one of the party is only gaining trade evolution, then that's no sense in having it, because both the parties should gain something from the trade. So, understanding the motive of Sabrina, Brock also trades and evolves his Graveler with another Kadabra Sabrina had all along. Next, Mr. Fuji gives Ash Marsh badge and the gang walks away with a Gengar and Golem this time. Next are the events of Primeape goes bananas. After working hard to finally get himself his third batch, Ash is on his way towards Celadon City, motivated by his latest victory. Ash, after lunch at a camp set up by Brock and Misty, goes on for a long training session with Pidgeotto, knowing it's been out of action for some time and the next gym battle is in a grass type gym from Brock. While training, Ash encounters a curious monkey. After angering it while it was eating, Mankey actually comes after Ash. Mankey then steals Ash's cap. Ash tries to retrieve it but is brutally stopped by the fighting type Pokemon's power, during which Team Rocket arrives to get Pikachu, and Mankey walks by. James tries to capture it by poisoning it using his coughing, since Ash is already distracted. Team Rocket takes down Pikachu. Following that, both Ekans and Koffing finally evolve into Arbok and Weezing respectively, gaining the much experience needed till now. But in its anger due to treatment by Team Rocket and Ash, Mankey an evolved angry Primeape takes down Team Rocket's newly evolved Pokemon as well, forcing them to run away. Ash is then attacked by this savage Primeape. Ash is running for a while until he finally resolves to capture Primeape instead of running all over. And he does it finally with the help of the newly trained Pidgeotto. For now, Ash replaces Primeape with Gengar on his team. Next episode is the Punchy Pokemon. While passing by a town, the gang notices a tough Hitmonchan being trained. After meeting Rebecca, a girl whose father Anthony is more concerned about training his fighting type Pokemon at the gym instead of giving time to his family, Ash notices Anthony is too harsh towards Hitmonchan, forcing it to even use kicks, even though knowing Hitmonchan uses punches only most of the time. Anthony challenges Ash for fighting type Pokemon challenge. Ash chooses Primeape even though Primeape is angry with Ash. It wins following Ash's orders. Anthony is shocked and blames Hitmonchan for the loss. Ash questions this, to which Anthony proposes another challenge for Ash. Ash would train Hitmonchan and Anthony would train Primeape. The one who wins the P1 Grand Prix, Ash would select one of the Pokemon to take over, the better and stronger one. Ash shockingly agrees to this. Ash, after taking some time, goes after her Hitmonchan and asks its permission for training session, to which Hitmonchan shockingly agrees and it wants to prove its worth to its old trainer. Anthony makes Primeape an all-out attacker during the training sessions, while Ash focuses on improving reflexes and mastering the basics of boxing and making Hitmonchan use punches more frequently to have a more accurate aim for punching. With Hitmonchan, Ash is ready for P1 Grand Prix. Finally, after all these tough action sequences, they both collide in the finals of the tournament. Hitmonchan sweeps Primeape with continuous punches and super speed reflexes to win the tournament. After learning how much his daughter means to him and losing the tournament, Anthony promises Ash to never give up and train his Pokemon properly according to their wish, which means no excessive workouts. He also wishes to keep Primeape since they have become best buddies now. So Ash trades Primeape for Hitmonchan, and Ash is also feeling good to have a Mon like Hitmonchan for future part of his journey. And same does Hitmonchan. Finally, it's the last unit of the video. Pokemon Sensation. Okay, I'm serious this time. No shit. No shit means literally no shit. So Ash reaches Celadon Gym, where he is welcomed by a few trainers who take him to the battlefield against Erika. So the battle begins. It's a 3v3 battle where Erika starts off with Ivysaur and Ash with his Charmander. Charmander continuously tries to burn things up, but Erika is smart. She makes Ivysaur use tactics like vine whips, leech seed, and toxic to have pressure maintained on Charmander and avoid contact to fire attacks. In rage of almost losing the control of the battle, Ash orders a straightaway fire spin, followed by a flamethrower to Ivysaur to take down Ivysaur. But to everyone's shock, Ivysaur breaks through the flamethrower with a double-edged attack to knock out Charmander. Following this impressive victory, Erika's Ivysaur fully evolves into Venusaur. Then Ash brings in his partner Pikachu, since it's the most reliable one for now, and Ash wants to keep Pidgeotto for the end. To Ash's surprise, Erika switches Venusaur for Tangela. Just like Venusaur, Tangela tries to make pressure and maintain it by trapping Pikachu in its vines. But with its agility, Pikachu breaks through it and slaps back Tangela with an iron tail to win this one. Final Pokemon of Erika is his sorry is her ace Wildplume. As soon as it enters, it sets up a grassy terrain and even sunlight for health recovery. Brock is intrigued by how experienced Erika's Wildplume is and knows the battlefield. Pikachu tries to hit an Iron Tail to a Wildplume as well, but Wildplume uses Petal Dance like a shield, which is followed by a Petal Blizzard to destroy Pikachu. Watching Pikachu's condition, Brock and Misty suggest Ash to surrender and return after training to battle Erika again and win the match later on. But Ash believes he can still make it with the help of Pidgeotto. Ash finally calls upon Pidgeotto, the star of this battle. While Erika still has Wildplume and Venusaur, Ash comes up with a strategy since he has noticed how calm Erika is. She focuses on the victory with sheer power and by exerting pressure on her opponents. Ash then remembers when Charmander and Pikachu broke her traps, she got at least a little bit nervous about it. So now Ash needs to get her nervousness to another level and play well alongside Pidgeotto. Ash goes for some aerial moves while Wildplume is defending herself via some leaf storm and petal dances, using those moves as shield and sword. But after mastering Aerial Ace move, Ash which Ash actually taught Pidgeotto before arriving at the gym, Pidgeotto actually hits Wildplume because we all know Aerial Ace has 100% accuracy, which till now seemed impossible, making Erika restless. Just when this event happens, Pidgeotto rises upwards and starts glowing to evolve into a massive beautiful Pidgeot. Both Pidgeot and Vileplume then clash when Vileplume uses Solar Beam while Pidgeot uses its newly learned move, Brave Bird, for the first time. When Smoke gets away and we get to know who won the battle between them, both of them are fainted, giving victory to Erika since she still has Venusaur. Post battle, Ash is confident he can beat Erika after some training, watching Pidgeot's performance. Even Erika praises Ash and recommends him to compete in the Battlefest. Battlefest is going to be held in Celadon City, where trainers with 4 or less badges will collide to boost their training and furnish their battle skills. Even gym leader Koga is also participating there to improve his skills and try to train some young traders for their gym battles. So Ash can try his luck out there and win the battle first if he can. Ash, determined to participate, starts training near the Pokemon Center. Also, the winner of the Battle Fest gets a surprise gift. But the Battle Fest is not going to be easy anyway. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Now, the information I would like to give you about the Battlefest is that Battlefest is something serious. Battlefest will consist of 3 qualifiers, followed by a quarter final, then a semi final, then a final round. Within the qualifiers, it would be mostly, I would explain that in the Battlefest. It's gonna be very interesting, but I would reveal one thing: the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals would consist a 6-on-6 battle. So get ready for some awesome returns in the battles, which will be consisting in the next episode. The next episode will be focusing more on the Battlefest, and we will go on till Koga's gym battle. Today it's been a long one writing all this and I'm tired. So next time.